How do I go beyond as a Star Trek fan? Well, Star Trek is very near and dear to my heart. It brings out the best in me. It's a thing I can seek comfort in, but it was also a way that I was able to connect with my father and help him find comfort away from the pain when he was dying of cancer. You see, before he even got sick, he had this habit of watching TV late at night to the point where it was blasting downstairs where I slept. So often I'd go upstairs to ask him to turn it down, and often he'd be watching one of the Star Trek movies or whatever, because we had Netflix, so we had access to lots of Star Trek. And so I'd get in a conversation with him. I'd say, "Dad, you're watching Star Trek," and I'd identify it based on what I was seeing and hearing. Because with the volume that loud, you could hear what was going on the TV quite well. And of course, he turned it down for a bit, but when it turned back up, I didn't go back up because, let him enjoy his Star Trek. But then, in summer of 2014, he got sick, and we found out his cancer was untreatable and he was going to die. And there would be times where I would be there alone with him so my mom and brother could get out and do things they needed to do, and Dad couldn't be alone at that point because his legs didn't work and he'd fall a lot because the poison of the cancer had taken over his legs, so it was hard for him to walk. And so I'd sit upstairs with him and we'd watch different things on TV. My mom and him watched a lot of Say Yes to the Dress and things like that on TLC, but I knew what he liked. So whenever we were alone, whenever I was sitting with my father upstairs alone, enjoying what little time we had, I'd turn on Star Trek, like either one of the movies or The Next Generation or whatever I could find on the TV, because I knew he liked that. It brought comfort to him. And really, it was a thing we bonded over. I knew he was a fan. And he just loved it so much. He grew up. He was born in 52, so I'm sure he watched the evolution of Star Trek at some point. But I knew those episodes of Star Trek or movies of Star Trek would distract him from the pain, because when it was on, he was calm, and I was able to watch him just relax, either awake or asleep, because he was in pain like a lot of the time, and it was a sad occasion. But Star Trek is something that managed to connect me and my dad in some very hard times. And I was able to, this whole thing with my dad inspired me to write this little blog of pictures of me wearing these various Star Trek uniforms and talking about how life is difficult, but you can get through it. And anyone who wants the blog at our summer, I'm more than happy to share it. It's called a Blogzibit. But yeah, I go beyond because Star Trek brings family close together, and it was a hard time for my family, so any time we could get with my dad, because the cancer, it took him in October of 2014, near the end of the month, after only being diagnosed near the end of July, so we didn't have a lot of time, so any time we could get with my dad where he wasn't in pain, was great, and Star Trek was the way to do that because it relaxed him. Just the thought of a future with no pain, no sorrows, no cancer, it brought him peace. So I go beyond as a fan by trying to use Star Trek to bring others peace and distract them from whatever hardships are going on in their lives. Because everybody's got a hard life. And I was able to bring Star Trek to my dad when he was going through his, because it was a painful experience. And I was able to bring that to him and bring peace, even if it was a temporary peace, to him. And make things better, if only for a moment. Star Trek's amazing. Star Trek brings peace to people and hope to people of a future where anything is possible. It brought hope and comfort to my dad that I was able to do because Star Trek existed. And because it existed, I was able to use the time with my dad that we had. And because of Star Trek, I was able to go beyond my comfort zone and be there for my dad in a very serious terminal situation. That's all.